Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I'm super, super excited to be back and just want to welcome everybody. Thanks for those of you who came here early. Hello. Yes, happy Chinese New Year. I don't know if anybody else is celebrating, but we had our big family feast yesterday that I might still be digesting. Hello, Joanne. Hello, Kevin, our lovely mods. How's everybody doing? You know, I was thinking about today's stream and what I would be drawing. And obviously we're drawing babies, but I was so surprised to learn that not a lot of people have drawn babies before. I mean, I guess I'm not really surprised. But babies are really, really fun, and I guess I chose this topic because our monthly stream, our monthly challenge is good versus evil, and also because, you know, I'm a new mom, and so this felt like a very interesting and fitting topic, because all I've been doing is watching babies. So anyway, welcome in, and I'm gonna try to do these plugs as well as Jessie does. Wish me luck, but did you know we are not just a YouTube channel, we're an online art school, and our growing community of art nerds just like you make up our wonderful community. So we have live weekly classes in small groups, and if you haven't participated before, our amazing teachers really help you stay accountable, and we cheer you on. And so, you know, we go live every weekend to bring our free classes to the world. But if you want more personal critique or feedback cycles, faster improvement, you can consider joining one of our classes. And we also have Patreon. So if you don't know, you can become a Wing Canvas Angel on Patreon and support the channel for only $2 a month, and that's Canadian. Canadian dollars. Our mission is to make arts education easily accessible to everyone. So with your support, we can continue to create content that is free. And you'll get early access to our videos, sometimes director's cuts and artworking files, so you can see the behind the scenes process. And you can also get member discounts and badges and emotes if you're a YouTube member. And you get feedback. So for only $2 a month, you can actually get feedback in our private Discord community for members. And that's also really, really helpful for your creative growth. All right. And if you are on social media, consider following us. Where's my social media thingy? Here we go. So on our Discord, you can share your artwork and chat with other art nerds. You can also participate in our monthly challenges. And if you create artwork, please tag us at Winged Canvas so that we can also share it. Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to make some announcements. And, this month's art challenge, we have an art challenge every month. And this month's art challenge is good versus evil. Great topic. And so last week, Jesse designed a creepy monster. If you haven't checked it out already, it was inspired by a crab, and it was just really, really, really awesome. And today I'm going to be doing the babies and the cherubs to kind of balance that out. And I have some exciting news, because usually if you join our Discord and you submit work for the monthly challenge, we will select some artwork and give you guys a shout out. And so I'm going to let Iggy do the shout outs, because I want to tell you about our next week's special stream. And that is going to be a giveaway stream. Yay, giveaway. Just checking chat. Hello, Joe. Welcome in. Thank you guys for being so early. It's awesome seeing you guys, some of the regulars. And oh my gosh, traditional streams. Yeah. Yes, I've been, we definitely want to do more traditional streams. And so hopefully you'll see more drawing and painting in traditional mediums from me. And thank you. Yes, I'm a new mom. Let's see who else is here. Welcome in, everybody. Sorry I wasn't here last time. That's okay. You can join anytime. You can always watch the replay. We post all of those replays. But anyway, talking about a giveaway. So next weekend on Saturday, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be doing our special Family Day 10-year anniversary stream. I know, it's been 10 years. It's crazy. And we will be giving away some awesome prizes. So one of them is an XP Pen Artist 12 2nd Gen. It's a display tablet. So thank you so much to our generous sponsor, XP Pen, for sponsoring this prize. We also have some awesome virtual class passes. So you can win some live classes with us next week. So the four of us will be streaming, and you will be seeing our lovely faces. Josh, Jesse, myself, and Iggy. We will all be just kind of hanging out, playing games, drawing, and you are invited to celebrate with us. So if you're not doing anything, or, you can always have us on in the background. You can be in two places at the same time. We are living in the future. Yes, thank you for making it. I'm just checking chat here. Traditional art streams can be nice. Sometimes I can get tired from digital myself. You know what? I think I definitely, I draw digitally as well. Obviously, I'm not as good or as experienced with digital art. Technically, I started probably two decades ago. I started digital art with Photoshop 3. Maybe Microsoft Paint, back when there were only 10 colors. And I use digital art as a tool to help enhance my traditional art and also, do planning. So I think it goes hand in hand. Um, so anyway, Joe says, congrats on your family edition. Boy or girl? A boy. And he turned 18 months yesterday. So running around, keeping me busy. Um, yeah, okay. So, what else was I going to tell you about next week? So next week, what we're going to be doing is it's going to be an AMA and live chat. So you can hang out with us, ask us stuff, chat with us. We're going to be playing some games. Face reveals. Yes, you will see our lovely faces. If you take our classes, you'll see our faces anyway. But if you don't know what we look like and you only know us by our cartoons, you will actually see our faces. And we'll be having games and giveaways. So you can win free class passes, a drawing tablet, and courses. You'll be able to win courses. So we're giving away like 5 prizes. So come and say hello and save the date, Saturday the 17th at 3 p.m. So a week from now. All right, so I hope I see you guys there. Let me know if I sound okay, if my music's too loud or if it's okay. And we will get started. All right, let's see. Talked about the 10-year stream. Oh, okay, so I want to share the poll with you guys. And Iggy will be sharing the artwork from our Discord. So you can always, if you're up for a challenge, do the monthly challenge and share your work on the Discord, and we might feature you. Okay, so today we're going to be drawing babies. And according to the poll, put out a poll a couple days ago, 2,000 people voted. That's quite a lot of people. And out of those 2,000 people, over 1,000 people said they have never drawn babies before. Whoa, that's awesome. Well, today you can draw a baby with me for the first time. They're super easy to draw and super fun and cute. So, even if you've never drawn them before, we can do one step by step. 22% said that they struggle with human anatomy in general. So I'm going to probably be doing an anatomy lesson. First, we're going to talk about proportions, and we're going to talk about how to make babies cute. And not just babies, like anything cute. It's the same type of principle. All right. So I guess let's start drawing. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for my final illustration yet today, but I've just been doing some doodling. No music, eh? Okay, well, maybe I'll turn up my music a little bit. How's that? Anybody else hear music? Okay, well. Soul the narrator says, I love babies. Their hands make me weak in the knees. Oh my goodness, I know. Their hands are so cute, especially their fat wrists. My son he still has his like wrist fat, and it's adorable. Anyway, let me just finish my little sketch here. I wanted to draw like a baby kind of like kicking and screaming. My baby doesn't really know how to jump yet, but hopefully soon. All right. So let's talk a little bit about proportions and anatomy in general. And so let me know what you guys struggle with the most, because, when you, like, I feel like any type of figure drawing lesson needs to start with proportions. Only because you know, if you know how to draw proportions, then everything else is easy, right? If you ever draw a figure and it's like, oh, that looks really wonky, I wonder what I did wrong, it's probably your proportions. So I'm just going to draw like a little grid here, and we will draw a adult and maybe like a child and then a baby, and we'll talk about proportions, because proportions are really the secret to something looking, or yeah, someone looking really cute. Let's see how many I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So babies are generally really chibi, right? They're really small. A lot of people say here that they struggle with hands. Flighty Feathers, hello, hello. You're not late. We just started. I also struggle with hands. Okay, yeah. Let's start by drawing a adult. So if you think about proportions, I usually think about heads as a unit of measurement. So this, I only kind of drew 6 head heights here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a typical, let's say like a child, someone who's maybe, let's say they're probably about, I'm going to say 10 years old. If they're 10 years old, they're probably about 5 heads high, more or less. These are just averages, right? And I always tend to draw heads as a ball and shield. So let's start by drawing the head. So this is like a kid, right? Maybe like 8 years old, let's say. 8 to 10 years old. And again, these are just really general proportions. You know, there are always anomalies, but let's say that a child's proportions usually about 5 heads high. So we always use heads as a unit of measurement. It's just easy. That's why you see like art students holding up their pencil and kind of measuring everything, because that's how you ensure that things look correct. So usually like a kid, their rib cage is only slightly bigger than their head, right? If you're drawing an adult, like a female rib cage, a female adult rib cage would be about 1.5 times the size of the head, or the volume of the head. With a child, it's like roughly the same, maybe slightly bigger, right? If you're drawing like an adult male, especially like an athlete or somebody who's like really muscular, their rib cage may be like 2 times the size of their head, or 2.5. If they're very muscular, their rib cage doesn't change, but their torso usually looks a little bit bigger. So Clover says, for me, ball and shield for heads work the best. It might look a bit flat, but I never got the hang of the other methods. Yeah, you know, like the ball and shield is, it's handy for when you want to draw people in any direction, like in any, I guess in any pose, because it's easy to deconstruct, right? So I meet a lot of people who are like, oh, I can't draw, I can only draw stick people. Well, guess what? This is a stick person so far. But at least with this stick person, I can already tell that they're a child, right? And that's pretty cool. So that's really proportions. So I know this stream is about babies, but I thought I would draw like an 8-year-old and then maybe like a 1-year-old, just to kind of show you the difference in terms of their proportions. Okay, so then usually after I draw the stick figure, I kind of make sure that the elbows are aligned, and And then I don't worry about hands. I just kind of draw in rough shapes for the hands. And then kids don't really have very big shoulders. They have kind of small shoulders and very thin necks, right? So you just kind of bring everything down. And children, male and females, you know, boys and girls, they all have similar proportions. You know, before they become teenagers, they're usually pretty much the same in terms of proportions. So, and usually like they have very, very skinny arms, unlike babies. Like kids usually have like really skinny arms and skinny legs. But here's my 8-year-old. Okay. My 8-year-old rough proportion drawing. Now if I want to draw like a 1-year-old, my 1-year-old would probably, let's make them like 1.5, because 1.5 they'd be walking, right? Because before kids walk, their legs are really funny. They're kind of round, right? They don't really stand very well. But when a child is like 1.5 years, they start to stand up and their legs get straighter. So, interesting thing about the ball and shield is that when you draw a, like the younger the child, oops, my pencil just broke. The younger the child, the smaller the shield is on their face. And that's just because their jaws are smaller. Like if you've ever seen a baby skull, it's super weird looking. I'm not going to show one in the stream, but Google it. If you've never seen a baby skull, it's like, looks like a little alien. You'll see that the shield is like maybe 1/4 of the ball, maybe even less than 1/4, right? That's what gives their faces the cuteness. Oh, Flighty Feathers, you are in Jessie's class. Awesome. That's great. You get to learn with Jessie. Jessie actually just made my new PNG tuber right here. I love it. So thank you, Jessie. It looks awesome. Just catching up with chat. Thank you guys so much for the warm welcome. I'm really happy to be here. Children are so hard for me. I normally draw men ages 20 to 40. It's totally fine. All you need to do is alter the proportions, and that's it, right? And if you live with a child, if you have a younger sibling, or if you have a child yourself, then this is really fun because it's a way to observe, you know, like children have just such funny proportions compared to adults. So if you look at them carefully, they're really, really strange. Like for example, my baby wasn't able to reach his hands over his head. They were so short. They're like here. So as he grows, his hands will eventually touch. But yes, I do have a real life reference. Okay, so baby rib cages are really, really small. I kind of drew this a little big, but sometimes they're even smaller than the head. Like when newborns are born, their rib cages are like smaller than their heads. Their heads are the largest parts of their body. So, you know, you just like make the torso really, really small. The pelvis is probably going to be half that size. I just kind of draw it as a box like this, right? So the head and you'll see the rib cage are generally the same size. The rib cage is a little bit smaller, and then I tell my students, like, draw the pelvis as a box, and then turn it into this underwear shape, and then draw the legs. So the legs actually attach here, right? So here we go. We have the legs and then the feet. Right, so let's say 18-month-old is roughly 4 heads. So toddlers are about 4 heads tall. Infants are probably like 3 heads tall. So you can see here, even with my stick person, right, it's starting to look baby-like. And what am I doing? They don't have a waist. Babies don't have waists, do they? They have like chubby little bellies. So bring on the chub. That's what makes babies really, really cute. So I'm just gonna kind of make everything a little chunkier. I mean, not all babies are chunky. There are some babies that are, you know, I guess a little bit thinner. They come in all shapes and sizes, but usually the chunkier they are, the cuter they can be. All right, so they have like these tiny little shoulders, and I might have drawn this arm a little bit long, but usually your arms reach to about 1/3 of your thigh, right? So if you take the thigh and find like the 1/3 line, you'll see the little hand. And Brian, hey Brian, welcome in. Oh my gosh. Brian was Wing Canvas's first employee. So really nice to see you, Brian. Thank you for watching me draw. Brian and I used to run life drawing at the studio when we were an in-person studio in Markham. We used to do life drawing sessions every week, and we got a lot of practice in. Right, it was a lot of fun. So. All right, we didn't really have any babies, but we did have some kids model for us too. Just come in costume. We had a lot of cosplayers, so that was always fun. All right. Hey, Droll Fox, welcome in. Nice to see our regulars. All right. Hiya, Astrocyclone. Welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, a real OG. Yeah, Brian is an OG art nerd for sure. He's Wing Canvas employee #1. Since, gosh, when was it? 2014? Yeah, 2014. Seems like it would be hard to make babies model. Yeah, I mean, only when they're sleeping, right? So my pencil keeps breaking. This is one of I guess one of the reasons why, you know, digital is just so much easier, because you don't have to sharpen your pencils a lot at all. And I think because I've dropped these pencils so many times, the lead is broken in so many places. All right. Okay, so we've kind of drawn a child and a baby, and we are going to now talk about faces. So how do you make baby faces cute? And I'll explain in just a second. When you look at the ball and shield, like, you'll notice that the shield part is a lot bigger, right, in the 8-year-old child than the 4-year-old toddler. So, oh, I should write toddler up here. So the reason why our faces start to elongate as we get older, and so usually, you know, when I ask somebody, like I'm gonna ask Chad, where do you put the eyes on the face? Do you usually put the eyes in the middle, towards the top, or towards the bottom? Let me know where you usually put the eyes when you draw faces. What I mean is like from if I had to draw a line between the top and the bottom, where do you guys put the eyes usually? Okay, Starver says middle. Yeah. Above the nose. Yeah, I would hope so. If you put the eyes below the nose, that might look a little bit odd. I'm not sure if it'll still be cute. But yes, generally you put the eyes in the middle, right? However, on children's eyes are actually closer to the bottom. So I'm just going to draw 2 lines here. On the 8-year-old, I'm going to draw it closer to the middle, but I'm going to actually put the eyes below the middle line. And then for the toddler, I'm going to make the eyes really, 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 really low. Okay. So here goes. For the 8-year-old, right, if the eyes are below, slightly below the center line here, there's the nose. So the nose kind of touches the bottom of that circle. It's like right where the shield begins. And I'm really just drawing the bottom plane of the nose, and then the mouth is kind of closer to the top, but generally in the middle, right? Ears on a front-facing face is just between the eyes and the nose. And sure, let's give them some eyebrows. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to leave this child hairless for now. And just kind of move on to the face of the toddler. So when you, yeah, okay, so most people say around halfway, and that's true. So the older you get, the older you get, the longer your face gets, or the longer your jaw gets, right? So then your eyes, the eyes on a typical adult would be in the middle, but as we age, the eyes start, you know, appearing like they're closer to the top, but that's just because our jaws start to get a little bit longer. So when you're drawing babies, right, you want to keep the eyes like really low. So here's a baby. I'm not going to go into tons of detail here, but just to get an idea, you know, the eyes are much lower. Babies don't really have dark eyebrows. My kid does, but most kids don't. That usually comes later in life, but you know, everybody's different. So you'll notice that the ears are also lower. And Clover says, I put the bottom of the eyes at the half of the face. Yeah, yep. If you put the bottom of the eyes at the half of the face, that's right. Like it depends on the age of the person that you're drawing, right? Usually kids, or if you want your character to look cute, you would put the eyes lower. And I'm just gonna give this baby some big cheeks, like really round cheeks, and like a little chin. So that kind of, like this kind of shape, almost like a bracket, right? Like these big puffy cheeks and the little chin is sort of iconic for babies in general. Okay, so let's give this baby some hair. Just gonna put a little bit of curls on the top here. There we go. And same hair, but slightly older. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions about proportions in general. This is just a very general approach to drawing proportions. So there's baby, and you know, newborns are just even weirder. Like their heads are like, I would probably draw a newborn you know, depends on the size, but they're not standing yet, right? So they don't really have a neck yet. Like they're just kind of their legs are like this. They're all bendy. So they're just like I'm not even gonna draw sticks because their limbs are still kind of filling out. But anyway, this would be a newborn. Just gonna draw a little Soothie here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that baby has better posture than I'll ever have. Yeah. That's because we sit too much, right? Oh. That's funny. I'm like correcting my posture, thinking about Jesse's shrimp video. I'm shrimping right now, so thank you for reminding me to adjust my posture. Some of you guys were asking about baby hands, so maybe I'll just draw kind of like a little sketch of a baby hand. So if you've ever taken my classes, you'll know I always refer to hands as structures. So for example, the palm of the hand would be like a piece of toast, and then the thumb has this extra triangle, or like this little nacho shape. And actually, I think Jessie did a stream, and we have a video on it on how to draw hands, and she did go over how to draw baby hands as well. But basically, baby hands just have chubbier fingers, stubbier fingers, but you know, usually they're pretty similar to adult hands, just less wrinkles and more rolls. Right. So you kind of make everything a little bit shorter, a little bit rounder. I'm using this new sketchbook, and it's like super toothy, so it's actually really like a rough paper. I'm just getting used to it, but it makes me sharpen my pencil a lot. It kind of dulls everything out. So there we go. There's a little baby hand with the wrist fat. Some extra rolls there. Hello. What brand is it? Brand of my pencil? Staedtler? I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't really, like, I'm not really like a brand person in general. Like, I just try out different things, and whatever works for me works. But I do like, you know, obviously there's different quality of pencils. This one is just an HB, but I also draw with, I have a 2B and a 4B, just to make things a little bit darker. But the B pencils tend to be really soft, so they need a lot of sharpening. And because I hate drawing with dull pencils, and they don't erase well. So if I was just drawing for myself, I'd probably be using an H pencil, but because it's easier for you guys to see on stream, I'm using a slightly darker pencil, so I'm just using an HB. I've never heard of bad sitting posture called shrimping until Jessie called it that. Yeah, it's true, right? Like, because shrimps all have that posture for life. So Flighty Feathers, the sketchbook. I don't know. I was given this sketchbook as a gift and I kind of ran out of paper. But normally, I like the Canson sketchbooks. So this is what I might use for my final illustration, just the Canson watercolor paper. It's kind of like a cold press mixed media surface, which is really, really nice to draw on. So they do have a sketch pad as well. But I like working in mixed media, so I might be doing like a little gouache painting, depending on how much time we have. Um, all right, so we did our proportion drawing. What else did I have on my list? Let me know what you guys want to see. I have some poses on my list, and then my final illustration. I thought because it would be, it's the year of the dragon, I thought it might be cool to draw like a little baby flying in the clouds, kissing a dragon. I thought that might be kind of cute, but um, anyway, if you guys have any suggestions or any requests, let me know. I'm all ears. You know what? If you already have a character or an OC, I invite you to draw them as a baby. That might be kind of neat. So that's weird. My camera's not focusing. Let's put something down. There we go. Okay, yeah, so I challenge you to draw your D&D character as a baby. Let's see what they look like as a baby. So let's draw some baby poses. So I'm, a big fan of drawing dynamic poses. And I think that one way to keep your poses dynamic is to draw a line of action or a gesture line, right? So if you can keep that gesture line and you can keep the method that I use to draw poses, you can draw any pose, like any pose out of your head. As long as you have the general proportions. For babies, you can start with their heads, right? Because their heads are really, really big. So draw a circle. We'll just make up some poses. Draw a circle. Let's draw a face from the side, like a side profile face. So normally a side profile face, you draw the shield like this. So if I'm drawing a baby, I would draw it really, really, really short. And then I draw the neck, if they even have a neck. And then you see how this is like their cheek? Well, babies have cheeks that stick out like this, right? So their faces tend to be a lot rounder down here. And then you can kind of make up what their body is doing. So let's say they're getting changed and they're kind of like being extra wriggly, right? You draw in sketch in their rib cage. Maybe they have their legs up in the air. I'm just thinking about how many diapers I've changed. He's 10 years old. Okay, so if your character is 10 years old, then maybe you would probably draw them like 5 heads high, right? I like 5 heads high. So I'm going to draw like a foreshortened leg here. And feet. And toes. So generally I will work with shapes. Right? You'll see like I'm not really sketching out a lot of detail. I'm just kind of sketching out the basic shapes and then I build on top of that. So usually I'll draw like little spacers for the shoulders. So this is just like a pose that I'm sort of making up as I go. So here he's going to be touching his toes. And then if you have trouble drawing hands, I know a lot of people have trouble drawing hands. If you're drawing hands, then like if you have trouble drawing hands, then the best thing to do is just draw a mitten, right? And then turn that mitten into a hand. That's always a really easy way to do it. So this is the cheek. This is kind of like a 3/4 view face here. And let's see, the nose. Say the nose is here. We'll do some little teeth. And just kind of like giggling. So eyes closed. The main thing is just to draw those big cheeks, right? Because it's those big cheeks that make babies really cute and kind of weird looking at the same time, but and ears. I think I need to make these cheeks even bigger. Let's give this little cherub a double chin. Okay. So I'm doing the messy hair thing, like the kind of messy curly hair, but feel free to draw whatever hairstyle you want on these little babies. Baby fat makes everything look bigger. Thank you. I love my new PNG tuber too. It's really cute, and my hair does actually look like that right now. It's just a little bit longer. Let's draw a little diaper. Here we go. And then, you really want to exaggerate those rolls as much as possible. Like sometimes there's even like double rolls on one limb, like on the leg. On the calf, there's like sometimes not just one roll, but like 2 rolls. So how are you guys all doing? I know it's so nice outside right now. Like we're in Ontario, and today it feels like April or May. It's insane. It's February. I don't think I've ever I've never experienced a February with weather that's like almost summer. Like you could wear shorts today. Such a confident baby. It just kind of happened. I didn't really know what it was going to look like, but with poses, like as long as you know how to draw the cylinders, and if you want to draw foreshortening, you can look up the coil method. We have some videos on that. But generally speaking, just like draw your shapes and go from there, right? Like everything here is just from different shapes combined. I'm trying to think of like another cute pose that I could do. Let's draw a baby kind of lying down. I know it's crazy nice out right now. I know. Personally, I don't like summer weather too hot. Yeah, I know. Summer, the beginning of summer is always so nice, right? It's like beautiful sunshine. I mean, we get some nice sunshine in the winter as well, but it's just so nice in the beginning. So much anticipation, the smells of barbecues and, you know, pool parties and all that. It's just so great. And then it gets too hot, and then everybody starts kind of complaining. And I actually love winter. I personally didn't like winter all that much in the beginning, but I've started to try out more winter sports, and that has definitely helped me enjoy winter a lot more. Okay. So for this one, I'm actually drawing a baby that's kind of sleeping on their stomach. And you might see this box here that I'm drawing as the hip. And just kind of figuring out how that pelvis shape looks like in space, because this is like a 3/4 view. Like if you're drawing a pelvis from the front, you know, it's like this with the underwear shape, right? But if you're drawing a pelvis that's sort of a 3/4 view, it gets a little bit harder. So I'm turning this one into a form, which kind of looks like this. And, you know, whether you can see a little bit of the back there. Now, how would you translate the leg holes into like a 3D shape? Well, if you think about the front of the box, right? And then you think about like where those leg holes would be in the front of the box, and then you just think about what a 3D 3D underwear shape would look like. The legs kind of come out of the box down here, right? Because our legs are attached to the sides of our pelvis. So they're actually like attached here. They're not actually attached from the bottom. So if you have a, you know, if you're drawing from a mannequin, you know, those store-bought mannequins. Wait, I have one. I can show you guys. These guys, right? If you ever draw from these things, they're not actually anatomically correct, because you can see like the legs are attached to the bottom of the pelvis shape, right? And that's not actually how our legs attach. Our legs attach from the side here. So these things are, you know, they're good for beginners, but when you get a little bit more experience drawing figures, you'll probably want to think of the pelvis differently. Otherwise, it starts to show, right? The incorrect anatomy from those mannequins start to show. Okay, and then also those mannequins are, you know, like male and female bodies are also very different. Children's bodies are different, right? So those mannequins are very, very generic. Not to say they're not helpful, but they're not that helpful. Okay, let's see. Super challenging pose on that second one. I can't fully grasp the box method after all these years. You know what? The box method doesn't work for everybody. And it can get really, really confusing. But what I like about the box method is that, okay, so here's a box from the front. And this is like 3/4 view. If you're looking at a box from the side, right? Usually speaking, pelvises are tilted from the side, right? So if you're drawing a box from the side, let's just draw a little bit of the back here. The back is where, you know, the butt crack. Am I allowed to say that on stream? Yes, the butt crack. Okay, I don't know what the right the right term is, but the muscle on the buttock, right, comes down like this and it wraps around the corner. So the corner of that box is actually your sit bones, right? So if you think about your anatomy, this is your sit bone, and then the front corner of your box is your hip. So if you feel your those bony parts of your pelvis from the front, that's your hip. And then the diagonally right across are your sit bones, right? So if you can, if you're drawing somebody sitting and seated, on a chair or something, you'll be able to sort of figure out where that box is. Yeah, baby bums are like super cute. So I had to draw a pose where you can see the bum. Here we go. Okay. So I do teach proportions and human anatomy. If you struggle with human anatomy, come to my streams. I'm sure I'll talk a lot about anatomy, but I also have a course on figure drawing. It's called the Ultimate Figure Drawing Course. And in it, we basically chose our best recorded class content and then edited it into a course that has like 11 modules, and it covers how to draw faces, how to draw proportions, how to draw bodies as 3D forms, all that stuff, step by step. So, okay, so this is going to be a sleeping baby. And I want that cheek to be really, really big. Yes, I'm all about those big cheeks. Here we go. And I think I'm gonna leave this baby sort of hairless, because a lot of newborns don't get hair, don't have hair, for a while, or they have like very, very, very light hair. All right, so we have a sitting baby and we have a sleeping baby. And I kind of wanted to draw, I know babies don't fly, guys, but angels do. So I was debating on what type of baby, what type of angel or flying pose to do. I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna try now to sketch a little thumbnail for my final illustration, which I mentioned before. I want it to be a baby flying in the air, about to kiss a dragon. Because, they don't know. They don't know that dragons could be dangerous, but I think it might be a baby, an angel, and maybe a baby dragon. We'll see. We'll see where it ends up. This is such a cute pose. Thanks, Joanne. Yeah. Cute is what I'm going for today. The box method definitely beats drawing two blobs. You know what? The box method, yeah, it really is. It really is your choice. Like, there's not one, correct way of doing it. It really is up to you. So I had this sort of illustration idea in my head of drawing a dragon, and like Chinese dragons look very different than European dragons. They kind of, I don't know, they kind of look like Shih Tzus. Have you ever have you ever seen like a Shih Tzu dog? They look like they're known as Chinese lion dogs, or at least in Chinese. My mom is always saying, "Oh, it's a Chinese lion dog," to describe Shih Tzus. So I was like, "Huh." So I actually looked up Shih Tzu reference, and it's true. They do sort of look like those sort of mythical Chinese dragons. So I'm just gonna pull up a quick reference on my phone here because I can't remember really what Chinese dragons look like off the top of my head. They kind of have whiskers. I know that they have like, yeah, they kind of have whiskers, and they have this like this button nose and sort of like wavy upper lip type of thing, like something like this. And then some like whiskers. It's hard to make something that has whiskers cute. Well, okay, maybe not a cat, but still. Any content says, I apologize if I write strangely. I use a translator because I know English at the elementary school level and then by ear, and I have no idea how to write many words. That's okay. You know what? I think with our online tools these days, it's a lot easier to, you know, to write and translate in any language. So you're doing great. I totally understand what you're saying. And welcome to the stream. We actually are getting some of our content is being dubbed in Portuguese and in Spanish. So we haven't officially announced it yet, but some of our videos are going to be dubbed in other languages soon. So if there is a language that you speak and you watch a lot of our videos, you know, let us know, and we'll let our partners know. And yeah, join our Discord, because that's where you will hear it first. All right. So, okay, so this is going to be the dragon, and I actually want this dragon to be a little bit cuter. Maybe he's like kind of lying down. I know they've got like these like tiny little paws. Well, what do I know? They're mythical creatures, so you could really draw them however you like. Okay, here's my dragon. And let's draw our baby. So I want this baby to kind of be flying. So how many of you guys are actually drawing babies with me? Or are you just kind of watching? Let me know if you're actually sketching, because that would be really cool. Like this baby, actually, when I drew the body, it kind of looked like I was drawing a dog at first, because you know, like when you draw dogs and cats, they're you draw a bunch of circles and you connect them together. So baby's gonna be bending down like this, and then I didn't draw the box here because it's just so small that I feel like I don't really need to. Oh. Hmm. Let's see. And does it have wings? Yes. Ooh, I haven't drawn wings in a long time. How do you do them again? I gotta watch our video because I know Jesse draws a lot of wings, and I don't really draw a lot of winged characters. Just the winged canvas, because I did design the logo. Okay, here we go. So something like that. Maybe they're in the clouds. Like in the clouds. We'll see. Maybe I'll cover like the really awkward tiny little claw here with some clouds. All right. I'm personally just chilling and watching. I have no interest in drawing babies yet. I love you guys' streams. Oh, thanks. That's great. Yeah, you know, just chilling is the goal. We definitely want you know, you guys to be here, and you know, you'll have access to these streams even when we are no longer live. You'll still be able to see the replays. Okay, so don't draw wings like this. Yeah, I probably broke one of those rules already. Will you make a new logo for Wing Canvas 10 years? I don't know. I think we have a mascot that one of our designers made. It's more of like a cartoon figure, like a little more of a cartoony type of character. So I'm not sure. Probably not. Okay, so I thought I would do some painting. I didn't plan to do any painting today, but I thought it might be kind of fun to do a little illustration. I may or may not finish it, but we will see. Some of you guys said that you want to see me paint in all the mediums. So I was actually classically trained and in painting, and oil paints were my first medium. It's weird, right? Like, okay, my first painting medium was oils. And that's like not very typical. Like most people use watercolor as their first medium, or acrylic. But I used oils. And so if you ask me what my favorite medium is, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I like all of them. I like using oils because of how smooth and buttery they are. I love painting alla prima, which basically means wet on wet. So like you would finish an entire painting in one go, which is not usually how people use oils. People usually will do lots and lots of layers with oils, but I like the kind of quick alla prima type oil paintings, which we used to do a lot in life drawing as well. Like we'd have the models for a long pose, and I would paint it all in one go. All right, let's try and redraw this illustration here. Usually I don't do a lot of watercolor illustrations, so this is kind of going to be a first for me. I think I'm going to first draw in some of the clouds. Joanne said, I always wondered who made our logo. Even after 10 years, it looks great. Thank you. And timeless. Thank you. I used to be a graphic designer. And, well, I kind of did a little bit of everything. I couldn't decide, you know? You know how, like, well, when I went to art school, I loved everything. I loved design, I loved illustration, I loved animation, I loved advertising, I loved conceptual work. I just liked so much stuff. And I remember my department chair at the time would say, you know, you have to specialize in something. Like you gotta be known. If you're an illustrator, you kind of have to be known for a style, which you'll be doing over and over again. And I was like, but I get so bored. Like I don't want to do one style. And so I had a lot of trouble, and that's really how I discovered that I probably would be a good teacher, because I'm just so excited about all of the different mediums, and I can't really decide on one. So, and I love people. So yeah, that's why I'm here. Just checking chat. Crayola Super Tips were my first medium, also watercolor. Yeah, Crayola. I think all of us had used Crayola at some point. Definitely. You can actually use Crayola markers as watercolor. Like, you can draw with them and then make them bleed, which is kind of nice. Painting with butter. I know, Brian, right? I miss those painting live painting sessions. Those were really, really fun. Maybe one day we'll do them again. I don't know where. Maybe it'll be online. Would you guys do, has anyone here ever done online life drawing? Like, I know during COVID, there were some studios that did it, and we thought about it, but it really wasn't, I don't know, not the same. And wasn't something that I felt was a good fit for us at the time, but I know it's after COVID, it kind of still is a thing, the online life drawing. What a strange time, because pre-COVID, you know, we did everything in person. We had a lot of international students who would ask us, like, hey, do you want to do you guys teach online? Like, we'd love to join, but we're so far away. You know, we had students who would drive hours to come. We had like students from Brazil and Hong Kong, and that was like really, really cool. They'd just come for the summer or come for a season. And now you can actually learn from anywhere, which is so cool. And it just kind of, you know, it happened. We evolved. We figured out how to continue to learn and create. And that has been really, really cool. Thinking back makes my hands itchy. Yeah. Starver says, I'm very impatient with letting paint dry. Yeah, you know, then don't use oils. Then use acrylics. You can actually combine them too. Kevin, what are some of the differences between wet on wet versus wet on dry? That's a good question. Wet on wet versus wet on dry. I would say that wet on wet is, you know, the paint blends a lot more, right? When you're doing wet on wet. So if you want to paint on top of something that's already wet, you have to use more paint, right? So it really is like, imagine you had to spread jam on top of peanut butter, right? If you spread it, like they're both wet. So I'm gonna use a peanut butter jelly sandwich as an example. If you're doing like if you're spreading that jam on the peanut butter, you have to kind of do it delicately, right? Otherwise it mixes and then it just is not the same. So same thing with oils. So typically I will paint, if I was painting something in oils, I would start less thick, right? I would start off pretty thin, maybe with some washes, and then after that I might consider putting things on a lot thicker. So I do have a stream planned, future stream planned, where I will be doing that wet on wet technique. So stay tuned for that. Not sure when it is yet, but I'll let you guys know. Iggy is streaming tomorrow, right? Yes, Iggy is streaming tomorrow, and I think his stream is enemies to lovers. That's gonna be a fun one. Enemies to lovers, and you guys get to vote on the theme. So we have a poll out. Just go to our YouTube channel, hit community, and you should see Iggy's poll. Okay, so just kind of, so when I paint, I don't usually do a lot of drawing like this. This is not normal for me, but I kind of have to figure it out before I start painting. And if this was digital, I could have just taken my sketch and, you know, boom, add a new layer, start painting on top, refining. Easy, but this is not digital, and I am doing it the old-fashioned way with pencil. Okay. Acrylic markers would be awesome to see. Yeah, you know, I haven't really used a lot of acrylic markers. I want to use more acrylic markers. I've used them to draw stuff on like hockey pucks and ornaments and stuff, but I haven't really used them for art. So yeah, I feel like that might be a Jesse or Josh topic. But yeah, a lot of people, I put out another poll to see what medium you guys want me to work in, and a lot of people said Copics and like markers. And I love markers, but like the last time I really used markers was when I was like a teenager. So, you know, I wouldn't say, and I've never owned Copics, so I wouldn't really say I'm the best person to do that. But I do use everything else, and I love collage. Collage is probably one of my favorite mediums to use. So just kind of figuring out the wings here. I really should have studied some wing anatomy. Because really with these wings, like I know with wing anatomy, the wingspan is really important, you know, and you're supposed to kind of keep in mind that the size of the wing has to be big enough to actually lift the subject, right, or the character. So whether it's an angel character or whether it's like a bird, like half bird, half human kind of hybrid character. But really, with angels or cherubs, they're fictional creatures, and if I made this angel have like really big wings, it probably wouldn't look so good. I'm trying to think of how I would draw this wing in perspective without it looking weird. So I'm probably just going to keep the wings really, really small. Right, because if I make the wings too big, it's gonna look not very nice. This is starting to get messy, so I'm just gonna figure it out as I paint it. Bye, Brian. Thank you very much for joining. I will see you soon. We live so close to each other. Hopefully, we'll get together soon. Okay. So... the face. What to do with the face here? What kind of hairstyle should this angel have? I feel like the typical angels just kind of have a bob. Like curly, little curly cues. I've watched your wing videos multiple times and I still can't draw them that well. You know what? It really is like I never draw wings. Like the last time I drew a wing was probably when I designed the logo 10 years ago. So yeah, I think these are just gonna be more simplified. Okay, and then I probably want some sort of like fabric, but maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, because fabric is going to take a long time to paint as well. But let's draw some fabric. Maybe that'll stay in the final. Not sure yet. We'll see where it goes. Okay. I designed the logo. Yes, I did design the logo years ago. And it was fun. I was a logo designer for a little bit. So when I graduated from art school, I kind of tried everything. I tried packaging, I tried design. I worked at an ad agency. I did advertising, did a lot of digital marketing, which I still do for Wing Canvas, but and some art direction. So I got to work with a lot of really cool creative people, and that was always a big dream of mine, was to work in a team of creative people, and that has always been really fun. Whoops, I dropped my eraser. Okay, let's see, I've got half an hour. No, a little bit more than that. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, you know what, I guess I just got bored of doing the same thing Because, you know, if you're going to be a freelance illustrator, you do kind of have to be known for a style, right? And I don't know, sometimes I feel like, oh yeah, I have a style. And other times I'm like, well, my style just changed. So it changes depending on my mood and all that. Okay, so let's break out the gouache. I didn't really think I would be painting skin tones at all, but you know, I'm kind of in the mood for some watercolor. So when I say watercolor, like watercolor and gouache to me are the same thing. It's just that gouache is more opaque, so it's more forgiving, right? Because you can't really paint on top of watercolor, but you can paint on top of gouache. And so I use both. Sometimes I use them interchangeably, but if you're using a white with watercolor, that's gouache. So they might call it watercolor, but it's actually gouache. So I've just kind of taken out my primary colors and some variations of those colors. So for example, I have 2 reds and 2 yellows because I use one of the reds to mix purples, and then I use the other red to mix skin tones. So the nice thing about pencil is that it erases underneath watercolor. So glad you can feel that way even as a professional. Oh, I kind of got lost what you mean by that, Starverse. But yeah, even professional artists, it just means that like people expect more of you as a professional, you know? So it's you're never free from artist block, from feeling like, you know, you don't really like what you're doing at the moment. I think that's all very natural. Feeling like your style isn't always the same. Your style doesn't have to be the same. Like, you don't have to listen to people that say your style has to be the same. It can evolve. And, you know, your true fans will love your style even if it evolves, and they'll follow you, and they'll appreciate you nonetheless. So if you're bored, like, that's never good, right? Okay, so in terms of brushes, I'm using a 1-inch hake brush just to kind of start this illustration. I'm gonna put down some, like a wash of color. I want this sky color to be this purpley pink. And I like these brushes because they just hold so much water that it's so nice. Like, you don't always have to go back and get more paint, right? So, and then I'm just gonna take my water and just kind of soften those edges. Sometimes it's beneficial to have a flexible style. You know what? That's true. If you're a designer, you can't really have a style. Good designers are invisible. Joanne, you know, I think we've talked about this. Joanne is our one of our designers. If you are a designer, your job is really to kind of, you know, develop a style that's suitable for the project, right? For whatever it is you're doing. And it's really not helpful when you can only work in one style. So I guess because I was trained in design, I always felt like I didn't, you know, have or wasn't really interested in having, you know, one style. Like I didn't want to be pigeonholed into that. So I guess you could say my style is sort of semi-realistic, but it changes. Okay, so let's start with the baby. And if I finish the dragon, that's a bonus. Bye, flighty feathers. See you next time. Okay, so let's do this baby. So for skin tones, I generally will use a orange as a base. So orange as a base, and then I kind of add white to it, depending on the skin tone, obviously. I'm probably going for like a more average sort of tan skin tone. And babies generally have lighter skin tones. In, you know, every ethnicity, they're generally a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to paint it all in, paint in a base. Goes. So when you're painting in like skin tones, depends on what kind of what medium you're using. Like if I was using oils, I would probably not paint in a skin tone like this. I would probably paint my darks first. But because I'm using gouache, like I can quickly paint in the skin tone. And then go darker. If I was painting in oils, I would probably go darker first and then go lighter, right? Because your light paint covers up the dark paint better than trying to cover up light paint with darks. That's kind of a nightmare. If you've ever tried to do that, it's not fun. Okay, let's do the hair. I didn't take out a black, but I should. So I hate mixing brown, but because I don't have a brown in this gouache set, I have to mix it. It's just so cumbersome. You know, this is when I'm like, oh, if this was digital, I could just like color pick. It'd be so much easier, right? And I have to try this out first. So yeah, if you've taken my class before, you probably know that I'm always like, use big brushes. Use big brushes. Because small brushes are just too slow, and it's very easy for a piece to look very overworked. Whereas big brushes, you know, you have some limitations, obviously, but you really have to just be much more aware of your brushwork. So when I'm painting hair, I tend to just kind of blend the edges a little bit. And the wings. The wings, okay, because the background is purple, the wings are going to be more purple, right? Because wings are white, and, well, angel wings are white. I think. I've never seen one before, but, you know, in my head they're white. And white generally takes on the color of the background, right? So if I paint, like, let's say I just kind of block in the wings here as just big shapes. Iggy actually, when Iggy paints, he'll use like the shape method, and he'll just kind of paint a silhouette. And then he goes in and figures it out, right? And I like that style of painting as well, because it just allows you to kind of work with shapes and figure it out as you go, without, you know, having a perfect drawing and then doing the lines and all that. It's just easier and sometimes a little bit more organic in terms of a process. So now I'm just kind of putting in some shadows. And I'll probably do my line work last. You'll notice my shadows also have a lot of that purple. Okay, I kind of envisioned the fabric to be like an ultramarine type, bluish type of fabric. So I'm trying really hard to do this in an hour, guys. Like, this illustration would probably take a lot longer, so it's gonna be a bit rough. Brush size applies to digital art too. Bigger brushes help you focus on the overall picture instead of getting lost in the details. Yeah, totally true. She likes big brushes and she cannot lie. Yeah, I know, I do. I do. You know what? I don't have anything against little brushes. It's just big brushes, you know, get it done quick. Little brushes, it's like you save those till the end, right? Because if you start with little brushes, you're never gonna finish. And sometimes it makes the piece look very overworked. Okay. Not quite sure what color I want to do this dragon yet. But I think I just kind of want to paint in a shape just to kind of start it. Chinese dragons tend to be very colorful. So I'm not really sure yet, but I kind of like this overall kind of heavenly palette that's what I have right now. So it might be kind of like a purpley bluish type of dragon, just to kind of keep it all in the same realm. I'm trying to decide on what type of style I want. Let's just focus on the shape. If I was in Josh's mentorship class, Josh teaches animation and character design, he would probably be like, Faye, just go back to your shapes. Don't worry about it. Focus on the silhouette. So, thanks, Josh, in my head. I'm going to follow your advice that I imagined you would say. All right. So I have like a purpley color and a blue color. So the only parts I'm gonna leave white, like usually if I was painting in watercolor, I would do like different layers, but because this is gouache, I'm probably just going to paint it all as one shape and figure it out later. This brush has lost its tip. I think I abused it a little bit. When I was painting trees, I might have just kind of gone a little too hard with the dry brush. So don't die on me, brush. Okay. I probably want to leave the whites of the eyes, but I'm just going to fill in the dragon. And Chinese dragons aren't really purple. They might be purple in some areas, but I like this this palette. Chinese dragons are usually like red and gold, which is not really the kind of palette I'm going for. They're not, you know, not a subtle combination or a pastel-y combination. And I really wanted the piece to focus more on the baby instead of the dragon. Like the dragon is, you know, obviously part of the illustration, but I wanted it to be more secondary. So if I made it like red and gold, it would definitely clash. So I'm sticking with like an analogous color palette, which generally tends to look good. Like doesn't matter how you use it. Analogous colors always look good. And yeah, you're right. It's a dragon. It's all fiction, so who cares? It's true. You can do whatever you want. I never really understood like the why dragons. Like dragons are the only mythical creature in the Chinese zodiac. Like they don't have cats. They have dogs. So there's no cat. There's rats and let's see if I remember them. Rats, ox. It's after ox. Tiger? I can't remember. I know there's a tiger, there's a bunny, there's a snake, and then horse and sheep and like all these, you know, normal animals. And then there's like a dragon. You're like, what? Where did that come from? Like, who just said like, you know, the zodiac official zodiac planning team? They're just like, oh yeah, we're gonna throw a dragon in the mix. Like, what? What happened to the cat people? They didn't fight hard enough for a cat, but they like allowed a dragon in the mix. So weird. Yeah, I never understood it. All right. So there's some purples here. I think I'm going to sneak in some purples in the fabric, just to kind of unify the piece a little bit. My piece is kind of streaky right now, just because I'm kind of rushing it. But let's see where it goes. What are analogous colors? So good question. Sorry, I should have explained that. Analogous colors are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So, for example, purple, blue, and green would be analogous. Orange, yellow, red would be analogous. So those are sort of really nice color combinations because they have similar colors in them, you know. And so it tends to really work well. So if you're not sure about what color palette to use, try analogous. It almost always turns out nicely. I'm just kind of figuring out, because I want the clouds to be more stylized, because I don't have the time or patience to really paint fluffy clouds in this case. So I just wanted to sort of suggest them in the background. You're seeing my line art with a brush, guys, like a real brush. It's wonky. It's not perfect. But it's real! And if I mess it up, there's no Control Z. The stakes are high. Uh-oh, clouds. Yeah, I know, right? I was like, oh, I do want to. I had this idea for the illustration, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hate those clouds. Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So I'm just going to draw them in as like these kind of Chinese style, you know, illustration, like these stylized clouds that you find in old illustrations and carvings. I actually, one of my most memorable projects that I worked on as an illustrator was I designed some swords. Yes, some like real swords that were actually forged. And one of them was like a cloud. Actually, I did a few designs for them, but one of them was like all cloud themed. So it was just all these clouds, and they had to be like a certain way. So yeah, I drew a lot of clouds like this. So now I just like, you know, tend to like doing clouds like this. Okay, let's do the little halo. Is there a way that you could see them? I'll share them on the Discord. Yeah, they're on my website is really, really old, guys. Just a warning, I haven't updated it for like 5 years, but I do have some drawings on my website, just Feilu Art. If you search Feilu Art, let me just see if they're still there. Yeah, feiluart.com, and then you go to art drawings, and you'll see some sword stuff. But anyway, yeah, the cloud swords are there. It was like based on a dragon and a phoenix. So the actual theme of the sword was like a hidden dragon and hidden phoenix in the sky, amongst these clouds. So hopefully that little pop of yellow will you know, make the focal point go right there. So even though this is analogous, mostly analogous, it still has like a complementary accent. And it's okay to break the rules a little bit like that. As long as, like, you know, you have your core palette is analogous, you can get away with little pops of color. Where does one acquire a Fey original sword? It was actually a commission. I didn't just like wake up one day and decide I'm gonna make a sword. That would not that yeah, it was so one day a man walked in and asked me if I could design a sword for him, and I was like, sure, I'll do my best. And then it kind of happened, and then I did a few more. I think I did 3 in general, in total. And they were all different themes. One was a snake theme. One was a dragon theme. One was a cloud theme. And it was great. And one of our artists actually helped us do a digital rendering of it, because I had such a hard time drawing it in different angles without actually sculpting it. So I actually had to make a sculpture of it as well. So it was quite a lot of work. And I don't really know 3D tools or 3D sculpting. I guess I could have made it in Blender, but I actually made it out of clay. Like polymer clay. So it was a lot of work. And where can you get it? Where can you get the sword? I don't know. I think they're only making one just to keep the value high. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you. And it's like it's going to be hand forged, so who knows how long that's going to take. All right, so let's paint in these eyes. The eye of the dragon. This is going to be fun. Oh boy, I've got 10 minutes left. Did you have to draw the individual functions for it to be forged? Yeah, I did. I had to draw like, you know, the handle of the sword and like what it looked like in different directions. So that was kind of fun. And the blade, because sometimes the blade also has etched parts in it. So, this dragon's looking a little bit comical, so I do have to kind of make the eyes not so white. Okay, let's see what I can get done in the last 10 minutes. Let's put some light shading on these clouds. Using my gnarly brush, I'm using this kind of beat up brush here. Looks so cute and fluffy. Thank you. Okay, well, I think now it's time for me to use my small brush and get in some details before the stream ends. Let's do that. If the skin tones are dry already, I'm probably going to do my line work. I'm not going to use any black because I just think like when you use black for any type of line art on a baby or like, you know, on something with like pastel colors, it really tends to, unless it's like a cartoon style, it starts to make it look just a little bit too severe, I guess. I don't know what the right term is, but it starts to look too dark, right? Like, I know a lot of people will use blacks for line art, but I tend to avoid using black until the very end. Too harsh, yeah, definitely too harsh. That's a good word. Words, I'm struggling a little bit with my words. Okay, let's get the face in. So even when you're painting with small brushes, or when I use small brushes, I don't like how little paint they actually hold. So I'm constantly like trying to mix more paint. Whereas the big brushes, especially like those big, you know, Chinese watercolor brushes, they just hold so much paint and pigment. So it allows for really beautiful strokes. And less of the going over it over and over again. So I started outlining the face and I was like, ooh, I don't actually like those outlines, but I will show you some mixed media. Let's draw a little bit with colored pencil, because colored pencils actually work really well with gouache. I don't know if you guys have actually ever tried it, but it's very nice. You just have to make sure that your gouache is fully dry for it to work properly. So here I'm just kind of doing my line art. Were you going to draw in the lion's claw? I'm not sure yet. I might do that later. I'm not sure. Because if I draw in the claw, then I have to finish it. And I'm not sure if I have time for that. So maybe we'll leave it out. Oh, I know what I forgot. I forgot to give this little cherub rosy cheeks. Rosy cheeks and like tiny mouth. Rosy cheeks. I was like, rosy cheeks, but it's kind of turning into a rosy rash, so I should have blended it while it was still wet. Sometimes babies get this like rashy winter rash on their cheeks, and it looks like this baby right now. Okay. I'm just checking chat. I never draw babies, and I stopped using colored pencils. I stopped using colored pencils because the colored areas look too scratchy. You know, yeah, it's true. Sometimes it's the sometimes it could be the paper. Like if you want to work in colored pencils, I still think the best pencils are Prismacolor, but I'm using a brand called Marco that it's like a student grade brand that actually works pretty well. My mom has my Prismacolors. She's trying to do some more drawing, so but when you use colored pencils, sometimes the scratchiness is just the paper. Like sometimes it's not actually the colored pencil, it's the it could be the paper that you're using. So maybe try using a hot press instead of a cold press. So cold press is like more toothy, whereas a hot press is a little bit more smooth. So that can solve your issues. So we are 1 minute to the end of the stream that we have planned. I'm probably going to keep going a little bit on this illustration in my own time, but I will post it on the Discord for you guys to see. But let's see, I'm probably gonna go a couple minutes over just because I want to finish this dragon here. I'm probably going to use colored pencils to finish the outline of the dragon and like the scales and all that stuff. But just putting a little bit of yellow in the reflection of the eyes because, you know, the dragon's looking at the angel and the halo. So the way I would use colored pencil on top of the gouache is just to create, you know, those clean lines. That's a lot harder to get with a brush. I love using colored pencils on top of alcohol markers. Yes, yes. Colored pencils are great. Like maybe not so much by themselves, but in terms of mixed media, they're awesome, right? Because you can just do so much with it. And I really like the combination of gouache and colored pencil. And then you can even kind of like do some shading, give it some texture, which actually works out really nicely. You know, for example, if I want to give this dragon more like of a red lip, I don't have to paint it on. I can just draw it on. You know, I can go in and sort of fix my edges and enhance certain areas of my drawing afterwards. Give it really quick shadows. I didn't really draw the clouds with the colored pencil just because I feel like the brush gives it a bit more texture that's appealing to me. But it is 5:02, so I do have to tell you a little bit about the studio before we go. Um, if you have been enjoying the stream, consider supporting us on Patreon. It really helps us a lot because you not only help us with our mission to make art education easily accessible. With your support, we can also continue to create free content, and you get really cool member perks such as feedback from our instructors on our Discord. Just for members, and you also get a monthly class recording in one of the tiers, which are only limited to 12 people. So if you are, if you can't join us live and you would rather, watch a class recording on your own time, then you can become a member, and you can do that for as little as $2 a month. And if you created along with me, if you drew any babies along with me in this stream, post them on our social media, tag us at Wing Canvas, and we will do our best to share some of the creations that we really like. And if you didn't already know, we are a art school too. So you can find out about our programs at wingcanvas.com. We have amazing teachers who will help you stay accountable and cheer you on. Otherwise, you can join us for free live streams every weekend, Saturday and Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're here every weekend except for long weekends and Canadian holidays. So thank you so much, guys, for joining the stream. And I will post this artwork on Discord when I'm done. I'm probably going to sketch just a little bit more. And because I'm starting to feel like my dragon has become this character. And I kind of want to finish some of the scales. And I probably won't draw everything. I'll just draw a few scales to sort of suggest it. Let's see. And if you know me, I don't really draw dragons ever. So I'm just kind of figuring it out here. And trying to find those shapes within my dragon. And trying to find my dragon within those shapes. That's what I meant to say. And so, for scales, you could do something quickly like this. So I do really like the combination of drawing and painting together, because you never know what you're gonna get. I had no idea what this was gonna look like, so it was a lot of fun drawing with you guys. Yeah, thanks so much for joining. See you all on the Discord. Don't forget the whiskers. Ooh, yes, Joe. Yes, thank you. I totally forgot about those whiskers. That's what makes that dragon a Chinese dragon, right? Otherwise, it's like a not. Yeah. All right. Let's do that. Let's put that in. It's the last thing. I'm like, should I paint them? They might look good, kind of, as a brush stroke. At least I'll paint it first, and then I will, then I'll figure out what it's gonna look like. I don't know if you noticed this, but gouache is a different color when it's wet than when it's dry. All right, there you go. I got the whiskers in. Let's give it a little bit of form. I think because I made it pink, it kind of looks like almost like a tongue. So I think I'm just gonna lighten it up. It's like, oh, it looked good and then it dried darker. That's the one thing I don't like about gouache. Is that it always dries a little bit darker. So one time actually I had a teacher who made me paint a grayscale in gouache. It was the worst because every time I thought I nailed the color, it ended up being the wrong color because it would dry like a shade darker. So, oh, horrible. Don't ever paint a grayscale in gouache. If you have to do it in oils or acrylics. It's one thing I would not use gouache for. And thanks, Kevin. I'm glad it turned out adorable. The dragon's body is just going to be a mystery, but I didn't really want to leave it white, so I'm just going to kind of give it more of a body that kind of comes out to the side there. And if you make a mistake in gouache, you can just sort of add water to it and lighten it. If I don't want any hard edges, I can just kind of remove it and there you go. All right, y'all, thank you for joining. And you will see Iggy tomorrow for the Enemies to Lovers challenge. And I will see you. When is my next stream? Let me check. I will see you in, oh yeah, next week for our special 10th anniversary stream. All of us will be streaming. And then I will see you in March for animal studies. Don't forget to join us next weekend for a chance to win some awesome prizes and to hang out with the Wing Campus team. All right, everybody. Bye.